Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for the University of Regina's 2023 Alumni Effect Virtual Speaker Series. I am Dr. Iman Al-Mehdawi, Associate Dean and Associate Professor at the Levine Graduate School of Business at the University of Regina. Over the next hour, you will hear from alumna Lisa McIntyre, a lifelong learner of the University of Regina. Before I introduce Lisa, I would like to acknowledge that the University of Regina and its federated colleges are on Treaty 4, Treaty 6 territories, the homelands of Dakota, Lakota, Nagota, and Métis nations. The University of Regina Alumni Engagement Department is pleased to be able to offer the Alumni Effect series virtually. This is my first time hosting a lecture in this series, and I hope that your time with us today inspires you to return for future sessions. I would like to point out that these sessions are being recorded and will be posted on the UR alumni website so that you can watch the presentations again or share them with your friends and family. You'll see the link to the alumni website in the chat if you'd like to access the video later. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our first Alumni Effect speaker of 2023, Lisa McIntyre. We're glad you're joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Lisa is an alumna of the University of Regina who has earned Bachelor of Business Administration in 2012 and a Master of Administration and Leadership in 2018. Lisa is now the owner and COO of The Optical Shop, a local eyewear retailer in downtown Regina. Lisa is also actively involved in the Regina community and spends her time giving back by sitting on the board of the Globe Theatre, Regina Downtown Business Improvement District, City of Regina Catalyst Committee, and the Regina YWCA Capital Campaign. Impressive. Today, Lisa will discuss her experience as a student and an alumna of the University of Regina and share with us the challenges and steps that she took to achieve her goals. Following her discussion, we have about 15 minutes for a question and answer session. As you listen to Lisa's discussion, please put your questions in the chat feature, which you will find at the bottom of your screen. I will share them with Lisa after our discussion ends, and we'll do our best to get as many questions as time allows. And now I will turn the floor over to Lisa McIntyre to introduce herself.
Oh, well, thank you. I think you did a great job introducing me. And I am just so happy to be here and speaking to all the alumni. So thank you for everyone for joining.
Thank you, Lisa. We are so excited to have you join us. One of the main questions that current students and recent grads want to know, what inspired you to follow your career path and what steps did you take to make it possible?
I think that's a great question. I grew up in a family business, and so I think I always knew on some level that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But that wasn't a straight path for me. I didn't go into school thinking I'm going to own a business. I just thought I'll see what comes out of it. So when I finished my undergrad degree, I just tried different things. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Like I said, I thought an entrepreneur would be a great path for me. I like operating a business and running a business and sort of knowing all aspects of it, but what sector that was in, I had no idea. So I really took the opportunity to learn through my community involvement, as well as through different organizations. So I worked at the Regina Chamber of Commerce, which gave me access to so many businesses, and I had a great experience there. I took some time and worked in government. And then I jumped over to our family business and really got to see what entrepreneurship was like from the inside rather than from the outside. And so I took that time to learn and really decide that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I was just waiting for that perfect opportunity, which came up a few years later in the optical shop. So I think what's important for students to know is that there doesn't have to be a direct path to what you want to do. You can jump around, try a few different things, and change your mind if you want to. but I sort of took a little bit of a zigzagged approach, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing. And what challenges did you face while following your career path and taking those steps?
I think you never know if you're making the right decision when you change jobs or you make a leap of faith into entrepreneurship. So there's been lots of challenges along the way, lots of second guessing, but hindsight is 2020. And I think I did make a lot of right decisions. Over the last 4 years of being an entrepreneur, there were certainly a number of challenges. I purchased the optical shop in 2019, and 8 months later, we were shut down due to a pandemic. So that was a huge challenge that we faced. And that's when you start second guessing whether or not you should have kept the government job for safety, be working from home rather than stressing. But I really leaned on a lot of people in the community. I have great business partners. And it was really the Regina community that helped us get through the challenges of the pandemic and reinforce the fact that I want to stay an entrepreneur and keep down this path.
Thank you. Who were your mentors along this journey, and what examples did they set for you as you navigate your way past those challenges and forward in your career?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I started my career at the Regina Chamber, and so I do consider my first boss, the late John Hopkins, one of my mentors. He was someone who taught me a lot about community building and growing your network and just all the different relationships that you could have in the community and how valuable those are. So I was able to stay connected with him and call on him when I had challenges. I also had more formal mentors, Eric Dillon, who used to be the CEO of Connexus Credit Union here. He was a great mentor of mine in that I could call him or approach him with any challenge and he would help me brainstorm some solutions. And so it was more of a formal process rather than a friendship, I guess, that I had with John over the years. But I would say two of my biggest mentors were my parents. I grew up in a household with two very career-driven people. My mother worked really hard and had a great career, and I saw that hard work not only when she went to work, but in her community work as well, and giving back to Regina. And then, as I said, I worked for my family business. And so I worked with my dad for 4 years every day. And he really showed me how to treat your staff in a small business. It's something that's vital to keeping your organization going, and it can really make or break your business when you're in customer service, especially in sales. And so I just tried to take in all that information every day and learn from those people. And that's just a few that I can name right now. There's lots of mentors I've had in the community.
So it takes a lot of people to get a business running, right? That's really good to know. Thank you so much. How did the University of Regina help you reach your goals? You mentioned you did a master's degree after a few years of graduating. So can you explain to us how that helped you to achieve those goals?
Yeah, I often think of my undergrad as teaching me how to do all of the things. So the 4 P's of marketing, journal entries and accounting, calculating interest rate, all of those things that you need to run a business. But going back and doing my master's really taught me to approach a lot of problems from a 360-degree view. So seeing it from all angles, everyone that's affected, and the multiple different outcomes that could happen based on the decision you make. And that really has helped me through being a business owner and reaching these goals that I've had. I think another part of the university is that it's so ingrained in the community. And particularly in my undergraduate degree, I was able to be involved in the community and network. So I did JDC West, I did the Business Student Society, I got to run multiple events, go to all the networking opportunities. I saw Bruce Anderson is on here, so he really taught us about networking when we were in undergrad. And actually, he connected me to get my first job and my second job. I don't know if I've ever had to actually apply for a job because of the connections I made at the university. I've always sort of had the next job waiting for me when I needed it. And I think that's a huge advantage to having a community university in Regina.
Thank you, Lisa. It's good for everyone to know that the university experience goes beyond the textbook. It's more of the experiences that you go through in addition to what we learn in the textbooks. So thank you for that. So I will start now with the questions, if we have any questions in the chat. Okay, the first question is from Sarah, and the question is, for a student who wants to get involved in the community, what's some advice to start you have for them?
Oh, that's a great question. I do get asked this a lot, actually, from a lot of different community members. And I would say, think about what impact you want to make and what organization you want to help with. So different people are drawn to the arts, or maybe a social sector organization, or maybe you want to help your local church, something like that. But really consider what the impact is you want to make and what your time and contributions can look like, and then approach those organizations. A lot of times there's many different boards that are in need of people, and they just want someone to reach out or check out their website and apply. So I think that's a great avenue to do that, is to look at how and where you want to make an impact.
Thank you, Lisa. I have another question from Leah, and the question is, it's a two-part question. Which leaders do you admire and why? And what is your leadership style?
Oh, wow. I think in the community, I admire a number of different leaders. One that I can think of right off the top is the new CEO of SGI, Penny McEwen. I think it's just so great to have a woman running one of our crowns right now. So I really look up to her. Catherine Pollock, who's at the PSC. There's some really great leaders. And I actually think our mayor right now is a great leader. She's really bold and ambitious and changing things up. And I think that's what we need in the city. As far as my leadership style, I just try and lead by example, particularly in the store and in my community work. If I'm asking people to put in hard work and hours, I'm going to do that. And we're going to have fun while we do it, I think.
That's great to hear. Thank you. Another question from Lizette. What drew you to optical industry? I think you mentioned this in your introduction, but we can also elaborate on that, please.
For sure. The opportunity was brought to me as more of a business opportunity, but of course in the optical industry. And I think one of the things that appealed to me was that it's a mix of fashion and function. You need your glasses to see, but we can have fun at the same time and sell you some style, a classic look, whatever it is you need. And I really like that blend of sort of the two worlds. We can be creative, but it's also pretty scientific at the same time.
Yeah, nice glasses, by the way.
Thank you.
I have another question in the chat from Grant. Running a business is very demanding, plus networking and giving back to the community. How do you manage your time?
Sometimes not as well as I would like, of course. There's lots of demands on my schedule, but I do have to say no and decline some opportunities. Fortunately, the business we're in, we do have reduced hours, or not reduced hours, but we don't have 9 to 9 hours like a lot of retail places, because we are very much a destination and specific. So that does allow me time to commit to other organizations and create a balance. But I also have great staff, and I can't say enough good things about them right now. They've really supported me. I worked on the Grey Cup committee that just happened. So there was a couple of weeks of a lot of meetings and me not being available for 18, 20 hours a day, multiple days in a row. So I think that really is really important to have the staff that you can trust and rely on to have in the store. So we make a great team, and that allows me to do more community work too.
Sounds good. Thank you, Lisa. Another question from Abdel says, do you believe in gender wage gaps in the Canadian management workforce?
Yeah, I think there is a wage gap issue. I was able to take a class on that at the university, actually, and I do think that still exists. And I don't believe I do that in our store. We treat everyone equally based on their qualifications. And I do have a small staff, so it's easy to say that. But I've definitely experienced that in previous roles. And I think we've got a long way to go. We may be closing that gap a little bit, but it certainly exists.
Thank you, Lisa. Now we have a question from your previous instructor, Bruce Anderson. Lisa, with your experience with events and networking, how do you utilize that in your business?
Well, it's really helpful that I've been out in the community and have gone to lots of events. So I get invited to lots of events and I try and go. And in terms of our business, a lot of times it's just seeing people and reminding them that I'm there and my business exists so that they come in and see me. And oftentimes I find when I go out to events, people will be like, oh yeah, I need to come get glasses. So the pandemic was quite hard for that because we couldn't get out and you didn't see people and you didn't see me in a different pair of glasses every time we're at the Hotel Sask or wherever we are for reception. So I really try and leverage that and also mention the optical shop during my introductions at new meetings and when I'm being introduced to anyone new to the community, I make sure they know who we are and really try and leverage that connection and just being out. And I love being out at events, so it's nice to connect with new people.
Thank you. This is very helpful. Another question from Erin. How have your capabilities expanded from moving to owning and operating your own business in the optical industry?
Well, I really had to learn. I had become an optician, so that's about an 18-month course. So not only do I need my business skills, but I also needed the technical skills to be able to dispense glasses. So that was one way I was able to expand my knowledge. But I think I really had to expand and learn how to manage staff. I know I mentioned that I took in a lot in observing how we treated our staff in our family business, but it's different when you're actually doing it and learning different staff members' motivations for being there and what they want and how to appreciate that and reward them based on what they're looking for in their employment. So I would say if I could go back and take any more classes in university or redo some, I would probably have taken more HR ones because there's lots to learn there and lots of nuances in how you treat people and do employment contracts. So I really had to expand my knowledge on that as well.
Thank you. This takes us actually to the next question, which is relevant to what you pointed about taking more classes in HR. So the question is from Catherine, and she's asking, Lisa, is there anything you as a business owner would want the U of R alumni or the university proper to offer as a resource to you and your peers?
Oh, that's a great question. I think an alumni business directory would be something that would be great to add. It's not going to use all the time, but it's certainly a resource that if I can support other alumni businesses, I would be drawn to that. And so that's something that would help. And I think just being aware of more of the classes that are being offered and how I can help educate my staff. Particularly, I would say there's a big gap in sales skills. So there is a sales class, I believe, at the university. I took it when I was in my undergrad, but we've now gone out to places like Dale Carnegie to do more sales training. So I think that's a big gap. And in my opinion, everyone's a salesperson, whether they know it or not. They have to sell themselves. It might not be a product. So it's a great skill to learn.
Yeah. Thank you. Another question from Sarah. What are your professional goals moving forward? Do you have any plans for yourself and your business?
Yeah, I think we're always looking to grow the optical shop. The pandemic did set us back a little bit, but we're going to continue to look to grow the store. And beyond that, I think I will be growing my career in terms of moving into some consulting roles and expanding that way. I've given a lot of my time to boards in terms of volunteering, and I'd like to convert that into more maybe a paid role, which would be nice.
Thank you. Another question from Abdel. Who is your main stakeholder in the community? Are you thinking of expanding your business in the same field or different one in the future?
So in terms of our stakeholders in the community, I guess we are more of a boutique, a luxury brand, and we'll probably stay in that market in terms of this particular store. That doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity to diversify and do something different, but that's where we're going to stay right now. Beyond that, I'm not sure what we're going to do.
Okay. Another question from Grant. Do you use any formal coaching services to be successful as an entrepreneur or not?
I've actually just started looking into some formal coaching. I don't have any right now, but I do have a really great women's group. So I have maybe informally called a forum group, and there's about 8 of us. It's confidential. We're in non-competing industries, and we meet monthly or as needed if it needs to be more frequent than that. And we're really a resource for all aspects of each other's life. And that has been a huge help to me over the last couple of years.
Thank you. A question from Drew. What are your favorite books, podcasts, or video recommendations for career growth and inspiration?
Oh, well, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I think everyone knows that. But one that I always go back to over and over again is Good to Great, and the flywheel model that they talk about in that. There's one for social sector, an excerpt for social sector, which I've used on boards that I'm on. The Globe Theatre is a great example of that. They've been using that for years in terms of growing their productions and their sales. And we're going to continue to use that. And it's something that I think about in our business all the time. I think it's a great model for growth and creating success and processes in your business. So that is probably the key one that I use regularly.
Thank you, Lisa. This is interesting to know. Another question from Bruce. What are your favorite interactions with your customers?
Oh, we have some really memorable customers, and it's always great when we get to know them. I think one of the great things about being a boutique is that we don't see a huge number of people a day, but we get to know them. And glasses aren't a regular shopping experience. People buy them. I mean, at most frequent, we have people come in quarterly, but it's typically every 2 years. So I really like when someone comes in and I remember their name and their glasses, and they're just blown away by the fact that we remembered them, and yet they only come in every couple of years. So I think those are some of my favorite interactions, but there's lots of laughs we have in the store, and we have a really good time. We always visit with Dwight Heinrichs whenever he comes in for his glasses, chat about marketing and the different opportunities. So there's some really fun times that we have. And I'm sure some of you have seen our social media, but my mother is one of our best customers, and she also likes to model for us. So that's always fun to get the comments from customers when they see her photos on our social media.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, thank you so much, everyone, for your questions and interactions through this. Thank you for joining us today and contributing to the conversation. And thank you, Lisa, for sharing your expertise and time with us. A video of today's Alumni Effect will be posted soon on the alumni section of our website. A link to our website can be found in the chat. Feel free to share the link with your family and friends. Our next alumni speaker series will be February 21st, 2023. Please stay tuned on the University of Regina alumni website and social media channels for updates to the Alumni Effect. And don't forget to watch our past events on our website. Until then, take care and stay warm. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.